Welcome to Stay
And Slay
with Mel
and Krissy.
We're back.
Hey.
We're back in our OG studio. But,
Studio.
but there's no Susan.
Today.
Today
What did we want to talk about?
well, we do have a topic, but it kind of correlates with obviously the passing that just happened of Liam Payne. I'm sure every girl listening has heard. Every man too, probably. Has felt because One Direction was my first concert.
I was gonna say, I was never the biggest fan.
Yeah.
But I do remember, when I was younger, I joined, some One Direction Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to make friends. So I, acted like I loved them just to make friends.
That's kind of iconic.
Isn't it?
But yeah, it was a great community.
It was a great community. They welcomed me with open arms.
Yeah.
I acted like, I think it was Louis was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Niall was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, I didn't think my type was blondes, but I think now I'm realizing more.
Now history is proving.
History and the fact that Austin Butler was, my childhood crush.
Oh, shut it up.
Yeah, I think
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. They're still ruling, what Liam Payne's death was. But even if it was a suicide or not, I think just, all the things that kind of, added up to the moment of his death, I was just, doing some research are really, heartbreaking. One, his record label dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
People on the internet, I don't really know the full extent of, why, but people on the internet were just, going in on him, all this stuff, and it's
I heard that it was all the time,
yeah,
people would cancel him 24/7.
Yeah. And it's he suffered from obviously drug abuse, but
mm-hmm.
somebody that is in the public eye, I feel that makes the internet think that they're indestructible. Even us, we will post on YouTube and we get far more negative comments than we've ever gotten good.
That's true.
And it's just true. It's just the facts, and it's just random trolls on the internet.
Trolls. But they are.
Yeah, and it's just it's really sad because all these people are just behind their phone or computer
mm-hmm.
saying these things. But at the end of the day, these people that are in the public eye and reading these negative things about themselves every single day, you can only run away from it for so long.
Right. And I mean, when you read something like that over and over again, obviously it's not the same thing every time, but when it's always negative, that you start believing it.
Yeah.
Because you're reading it all the time. And I bet you he was even blaming himself,
yeah,
maybe I am this awful person, so it's not cool.
Yeah.
I think about the people in my life and I cannot picture them sitting behind a phone and commenting on random people's whatever and just being that way. I can't believe people like that exist.
I know. And I hate to admit this on the internet, but I am.
She comments mean things.
No.
She's the troll.
I'm the troll. I'm the one commenting all the mean things on her videos.
She killed Liam.
Anyway. No, I do comment on TikToks, not mean things.
I've seen you actually.
Yeah, I just I don't know.
I've seen her, there was this one that went viral, and I thought maybe you knew the girl before it went viral.
Really? What did I say?
I can't even remember, but you commented as if you guys were friends, so I was like, maybe this is her friend that went viral. I don't know.
No, I just comment things, and some of them have gotten just thousands of
likes.
Oh,
same. I have viral comments.
Yeah.
And it's annoying.
But in my head, I'm okay, I comment on things that I think are funny or whatever.
Or cool, yeah.
But there's people that just will scroll on the internet, think someone's ugly, and then just
feel the need to say something.
Right.
Can you just keep it to yourself?
But there's no need for you to go and comment that and make that person aware of insecurities that they didn't even know they had. Like, I don't know.
And, like, I know that, see, I don't know the full story, so hear me out. But I know that people were canceling Liam for awful things that he may have or have not done.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, if somebody does something wrong, that's one thing. But
Right.
to go and attack them for it, like, I don't care how bad the thing that they did was. No one ever deserves to be attacked like that.
No. I also think, just from, like, personal experience and, like, stories and stuff, people that, like, are
Make
just...
mistakes.
Yeah, people
That are
make
human.
mistakes.
Right.
But also, it's like when someone is on, like, the verge or, like, the edge of, like, committing suicide, it can be one comment.
Right.
It can be one action that's just going to go send that person over the edge. And I'm not saying that, like, if you say that to that one person and they go do that, it's your fault. No. But that's why we say be kind to everyone. Like, even, you know what? Let me tell this. Today I was driving home from work and I was like merging into this lane, but I couldn't get in. So I had to like cut the whole line of cars to get in. And I literally was like, I'm sorry. And the guy, he was like this little nerd. Like, sorry if you're watching this. But he literally was like,
no
flipping
way.
me off. And I was like,
I hate road rage people. I hate when people honk their horn. Like, be quiet.
yeah.
Talk to
And
yourself about how mad you are at me, but don't honk your horn.
Yeah. And I was
I
like,
don't need to know that you hate me.
I have no problem being flipped off if it's like
But imagine if you were on the verge.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the thing that was just like, wow, I'm the world's worst human being. It's time for me to go. Right. Like, it's time for me to go. Like, bye.
Yeah. So, to you little nerd.
Okay. us like, be nice.
I know.
You matter, you little nerd.
You matter, you little nerd.
I mean, everything I know is from TikTok, so
About
take
Liam.
it with a grain of salt. But I did hear, like, his, like, close fan base, like, they were, like, reporting on it all. And Perez Hilton actually did a very good, like, series of all his research and respectfully, like, reported on everything.
Okay.
And I saw that, like, the people who were canceling him were going back to their old tweets and quoting them and saying, like, oh, never mind, like, I never meant any of it. Like, after he died, because...
Yeah, because people are tweeting he's going to kill himself.
Right. And then he did.
I saw some of those, yeah.
So, but...
I also want to say, somebody posted the video of him actually falling on Twitter.
The video? No way.
Yeah.
How do people get hold of these things?
That's the thing. It's like...
Well, TMZ posted his
TMZ.
body.
Yeah. And the TMZ did the same thing with Kobe, and that's why they had the whole lawsuit or whatever.
They're about to have another one.
Yeah. It's just, like, disgusting.
And I saw the mom of his son, so his ex-wife.
Yeah.
She, like, posted saying how, like, now his son is going to grow up and see these photos on the internet because everyone had to go and leak all these things.
And his son is old enough to know. You know, I think he's 7.
Yeah.
He's old enough to know what happened to his dad, but one day when he gets a hold of the internet, he's going to want to look that up.
I'm sure there's going to be disgusting trolls sending it to him.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's just, like, really sad.
Change his name right now.
Yeah.
Change your identity, Bear. I'm thinking of you.
We're thinking of you, Bear.
I will say Liam's death was very, and I was not a fan. Like, straight up. But it was very, like, triggering for me.
It was for me, too.
And, like, hearing his story. Okay, the last pod that we made was about men struggling. And I brought up how, like, I've heard tons of stories of dads committing suicide. And that happened the day we posted that.
Yeah.
And, like, I hope this goes to show how serious this is. Because
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? You know, that's just how often it's happening nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's a problem.
Yeah.
And we got to do something about it. But the other part of his death, and I think a lot of people aren't even thinking about this because obviously suicide is a very, like, heavy thing.
Yeah.
But I think people are neglecting to pay attention to the fact that that hotel knew how messed up he was.
Yep.
And he was carried back to his room after being visibly...
3 times.
Yes. Being visibly messed up, and he was left alone. And I heard after they carried him up the last time, not even 5 minutes later, he died.
Yep.
And, like, they could have, like... I know that'd be weird to sit with this guy you barely know, but, like, if somebody is that...
But they need to do
not
something.
Okay, yeah. And I know they called the police, but they still left him alone.
And they called the police for, like, a disturbance. It wasn't even like, oh, we're concerned of the well-being of this person, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think people need to remember to never leave an intoxicated person by themselves.
I want to say that this past weekend, a few of my coworkers went out, and, like, one of them was sick and whatever. She was, like, from out of town. And my friend, he, like, literally took the Uber all the way to her hotel, which was, like, very, very, very much out of his way. He took that Uber and made sure she got in her hotel room safe. And it's like, if you know that somebody is, like, not okay, like, they're fucked up or whatever, it doesn't matter if you have to go out of your way. Yeah. Like, is it annoying? Yeah. Yeah, but you know what will be a lot more annoying? If you find out the next day that your fucking friend died.
And then you carry that with you the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I feel like we say this and we say this and we say this, but, like...
Take it seriously.
Yeah, I feel like it's not taken seriously. It's like, oh, my friend's not gonna die.
I feel like people don't...
But we lived it. We lived it, and that's why we're so passionate, and that's why we're here right now.
And I feel like people don't realize how often this is happening.
This kind of issue.
So often. Like, it's so scary how often it's happening. And I feel like we're yelling at you guys, and it's none of your guys' faults. All right, we're just saying spread some, like, awareness. I feel like some people just aren't even, like, aware that that's an issue in the world because they haven't been exposed to it yet. You know? Yeah.
I think also people, like, very much take that behavior more so as, like, ugh, I have to babysit tonight. But I don't really, like, see it that way at all. Like, if my friend needs help, I'm going to help my friend.
Right. Like, how about we just take care of one another?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
In person and
treat people
online.
the way you would want to be treated if it was you. Roles reverse. That's cancel culture.
Yeah. Let's cancel it.
Cancel culture. You know, that's why I love Trisha Paytas, because she can't be canceled.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Some people, like, some people do things where they, like, need a little bit of,
like a humbling moment.
A humbling.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we don't need to be telling people to go
kill themselves.
Right.
We don't need to tell people that they are ugly and look like a menace. You know?
You know?
There's a difference here. Last week, since we talked about, like, men.
Yeah, I feel like we do a lot of, like, preaching for the men on here when we aren't even men. And we need to stand up for ourselves as well.
Yeah, we want to talk about the women today.
Yeah. Girls go through a lot.
And honestly...
But it's not even our fault.
Yeah.
It's just our body and our hormones and what women have to live through every month of their life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy. It's just not.
I want to talk about... because I know a lot of women deal with this, is just birth control in general. Because I feel like when you're young, a lot of girls in, like, high school especially, and this was kind of like my case, like, just, you know, horrible periods or whatever, acne, whatever the deal is. I feel like a lot of doctors just kind of, like, immediately will shove hormonal birth control down your throat obviously you can say yes or no, but when you're hearing it from a professional,
Right.
you're like, okay, this is probably what I need to do. But obviously our bodies just change so much as we're like teenagers in our 20s and older, whatnot. But hormonal birth control just like messes you up so bad, even if like you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like I just feel like that needs to be talked about more. Also, just like I feel like a lot of women don't even realize.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't have that like awareness within themselves to realize like, oh, I'm feeling this way because I just started birth control.
Yeah. Well, and for me, like I started taking it in high school because of my acne.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being on it for maybe 6 years. And after I didn't like really realize it was taking a toll on my mental health until I was like completely off of it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, wow, I think maybe I never realized or felt it even affecting me because I was on it for that long. And from 17 to like 23.
Yeah.
Like those are such developmental years.
Right, like your brain is still developing.
Yeah.
And your body.
Yeah. And so I just probably, didn't even think twice about it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I don't know. I just think like it's great to like have access to all these things, all like birth control and all these things. But I think also like maybe doctors can like take more time to like educate you or take the time to like figure out with you what birth control is going to work best for you.
Not only that, I feel like when you go on birth control, like you don't even consider like what that could do to you mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of, or you're not even like educated that could be a possibility. Like if I start this, I might get really bad anxiety or I might get super depressed. And then you end up taking it without knowing all that. And you're like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah. And I think it's like, it's kind of hard because some people have like huge reactions, but like obviously I've, been off of it. And I think now I realize like looking back, but even when I stopped it, I didn't like feel, night and day different.
I don't know I forgot what it's called, but I know that like some girls go through, like with their period. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. That they go through like, 1 week out of the month, every month they just absolutely like can't do life.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. Like why, like what? And like I feel like people didn't discover this till recently.
Yeah.
And
well, like I mentioned earlier, in high school was when my periods, like I would throw up from the pain. Like I couldn't go to school. I would like literally be on the verge of passing out. Like it just affected me that way. And literally the nurse would be like, oh, is it that time of the month again, Melissa? Because I literally, I would go to the nurse just to like, I felt so sick.
I need to pay more attention because I feel like this past year I've noticed I've been trying to pay more attention to everything.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that like a couple days before I lose all motivation.
Yeah.
I do not care what goals I have in life. I have no motivation to leave my house, to do anything, not even take a shower.
Yeah.
And I am so like down.
Yes.
Like it's the worst feeling ever. Yeah. And then the day it starts, I'm like,
yeah.
Like nothing's wrong with me.
I'm the just exact a woman. Same way.
Like every time it happens, I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And I have to like go through this every month. That's cool.
Right. So something interesting. I wanted to save this until we were recording. So I went to a happy hour with some of my colleagues, and one of them, she was talking about how she wants to have another baby. Mm-hmm. But, you know, she travels for work and whatnot, and she just has a lot going on. So she was like, I just want to, you know, wait a little bit, whatnot, whatever. So she was like, no, like this, she's like, this conversation makes me mad. Because she was like, why would you, she's like, just get pregnant. Like, if you want to have another kid, have another kid. She's like, stop worrying about work.
Yeah.
She's like, stop worrying about what you're going to have to do, who's going to travel, blah, blah, blah. She's like, one, you have 9 months to prepare. And then she's like, you're gone for 3 months and then you're back and we'll be okay. And I just, also just seeing like all my coworkers, you know, go on their maternity leave and stuff, it's just crazy because it's like,
it's not enough time.
They literally, so we just had 2 people just had kids. They're both back now from maternity leave, but both of them worked up until like their due date. Yeah. And then, you know, they prepared what they needed to prepare and then they just come back. And it's like,
yeah.
What if...
but they come back and they have a baby at home.
Right, a newborn. It's a newborn. It's only 3 months old. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, I just thought, like, it was a very, like, empowering conversation for me to hear. Because, obviously, like, everyone that I hang out with at work is, like, my age. None of us have kids yet or anything. Mm-hmm. So, like, we haven't dealt with that. But it was really interesting to hear, like, the women that do work full-time and that are like powerful women in the workforce, hearing about like the work-life balance that they deal with at
it's
home
so stressful.
And at work.
Yeah, and I see that at school a lot because I'm like the only young one.
Yeah.
And like I had met with my boss like last week and she was just saying like, you know, you like get all your stuff done, this and that. And I was like, yeah, but like also like cut them some slack because they have kids.
Right.
And I said I can't imagine going home to a bunch of kids to take care of and also doing all this work because our jobs are so much work.
Yeah.
And like you want to do what's best for your students at the same time as your own children. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're living for all these other people except yourself.
Right.
And I cannot imagine like I'm going to cut them slack because they have kids at home.
Yeah.
And if they don't get something done, so what?
Right.
They have children.
Right.
Like, I always tell people, I'm like, I'll do it because I don't have kids.
Yeah.
If you guys have kids, I'll do it.
Yeah. No, that's exactly that. And especially our age, I feel like we're not obviously at the age yet where we can see, like, how insane it is to, like, go home to a family.
Right. And it's like, I can't blame the girl you work with because, like, I just can't imagine right now what that would be like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes I don't even have time for myself as it is now.
Yeah.
To where I, like, can't imagine being responsible for, like, kids and my job.
So that kind of ties back to, like, choosing the right partner. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of, all the women that just had kids are married at my work. And, like, they talk about how, okay, like, they took the 3 months off. And then their husband worked, and then now they're back at work, and their husband is taking, like, paternity leave.
Right.
So it's nice that, like, you can kind of, like, you know, and switch off really like that and make it work. But
men listening, if you are, can you, like, imagine growing a kid, like a human being inside of you? Like, I want to have many children, but I literally am terrified of what, like, that feels like.
Yeah, I'm terrified
because I hate going to the doctor. I don't like shots. I don't like blood. I don't like grossness. Mm-hmm. Like, to think that there would be a thing inside of me for 9 months just moving around and making itself and at growing. Home and then destroying my body.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably all worth it, but like,
and
then imagine something squirming inside of you.
You know what else they were talking about was like just how your body changes and stuff. And I think this is another thing I wanted to touch on with, like, women is just the beauty standards.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Because I saw this really good TikTok about, like, there was this girl, and it was, like, she was talking, like an infomercial, but she was saying, like, all the things you have to do to fit today's beauty standard. And basically, like, she's like, every step forward is a step, like, like you get nowhere because the beauty standard just moves a step up every time you take a step forward, and you spend all your day. There's not enough time in the day to catch up with what the beauty standard is today.
Yeah, and like you can't especially for like older women, I've seen, at least like the ones that I've talked to, like social media is so much more like kind of damaging for them. I know it is for us, and I think maybe like younger than us more so.
Yeah.
Because I think we kind of got lucky and like we grew up with social media, but not in our like younger years, which was nice. But like, I don't know, just hearing like some of the women at work talk about it, I'm like, you're married with kids and you have a family, and I'm like, I hate to hear you, you know, like worrying about this, like you look beautiful, whatever, you know?
Right.
So it's just like it really, and same with my mom. Like I always tell, my mom will be like, oh, do I look fat in this? I'm like, no, you look beautiful.
Yeah.
And
it's cute.
I don't know. I just think it's like it really never goes away.
It never does. And I don't even blame social media for that. I just think that's society, and like
it is.
I know something that I deal with that is kind of frustrating is like, just because I am like a young pretty girl, like it's expected that I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And people like can't understand like why I wouldn't. And I'm like, well, try to be me for a day and see what I'm dealing with here. Right. Like it's just not. It's just not that easy, you know? And I don't know, that's something I get all the time, especially lately. I don't know what's happening lately, but I just feel like it's expected that I'd be dating somebody or like wanting to.
And it's like, why does your worth matter if you have a man or not?
Right. Like for me, like I have made myself a very special person by doing so much work on myself that I know I deserve something just as special as me, which is going to be very hard to find. So I'm, you know, when it comes, and I'm not going to go and just settle down for just anybody because that's what society's telling me to do, and that's what everyone else is doing. Yeah. Like, no, like I have, you know, self-worth. Right. So, but like that's hard too. Just because I'm young and pretty and like it's just expected. Like I went out with my friends. Yeah. And we met this old man, and I was actually out with my friends.
Always the old man.
Yeah, there was I was out with my friends that are dating, the boy and a girl, and they're dating. And this guy like asked my guy friend, and he was like, "Are these your girlfriends?" And then he like looked at me and he was like, "So where's your man?" And I was like, "I don't have one." Yeah. And he was like, "What? Why?" And I'm like, "Why do you care? Why? Like, what is that? Just like expected of me? Right? Like, do I look like I'm?"
Yeah, I've had like Uber drivers too be like, "Your eyes are so beautiful. You better tell your boyfriend to watch out." I'm
like, what?
What? Like, first of all, like
rub it in, okay?
Weird. Like, I don't even know.
Like, stop rubbing in. I'm single. I get it.
Yeah.
Actually, not that my coworkers listen, but I'm sorry to put you on blast like this. One of my aides today, she's younger. We're actually the same age, and she came in this morning, and she was like telling the story, and I walked in halfway through, and I was like, "Who are you talking about?" Yeah. She was like, "I got ghosted this weekend," and I was like, "Girl, no!" Like, I spent the whole day making sure she knew like it's him who has the problem, not her. Like,
one of my friends just got ghosted too last week.
People, like, guys just suck. So of course these women are single. Like, you know they're good when they're single.
Also, the like great women to like men ratio is insane.
It's so low.
It's insane.
It's so low.
Like, I meet so many great, beautiful women, and I'm like, honestly, like, it sucks I'm not like gay or something. Obviously, it doesn't matter anymore.
I think like, every girl has said that.
When I was single, I'm like,
at least
that's why a lot of powerful women are single.
And it's the truth.
It takes also a very certain kind of man to like, you know, be able to deal with like a strong, independent woman.
And like you said, it's a very low ratio.
Yeah.
It's very low.
And that's why I never settle. Never. Because we were also talking about like arranged marriages and how like, oh no, you know what I was talking about? Or I was listening to a Call Her Daddy podcast with the girl from One Tree Hill.
I listened to that.
Yeah. And so the part of the story where she was talking about
the cult.
Well, not the cult.
Okay.
But basically like she married this guy and like she like hated being intimate with him. Yeah. Basically. And I guess he like traveled a lot for work. So like every time it kind of turned into this thing of like, okay, they need to like schedule it.
Yeah.
And she was like, so every time he'd come back into town, I'd just have this like horrible pit in my stomach. And she's like, but as a, religious woman, I'm like, I'm not going to get divorced. I'm going to, be traditional. Mm-hmm. She would still, go and have sex with him. And even though she didn't like it.
Right.
And then they were talking about, her and Alex were talking about, arranged marriages. And it's like, if you don't have that physical connection, mm-hmm. that's important in like a marriage and a relationship, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think it's like women in other cultures, very much so too, just like struggle so bad in that way.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like not even just like arranged marriages, but a lot of girls end up doing things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because, men are scary and like just bad things happen and, it always gets blamed on the girl. Like they were dressed this way. Like they act this way. Like they just want attention. They have daddy issues. Like whatever it is, it's always blamed on the girl.
Yeah.
And like that's a lot to deal with too. Like, and like, this is what we haven't talked about. It is so frustrating how we can't go anywhere by ourselves.
Oh my God.
It's not safe. Like I literally was at a Meijer yesterday shopping for school. Mm-hmm. Like I literally had like coloring books in my cart. Like there was no reason to be staring at me. This man just was like literally following around the whole store and just staring at me. And like we left at the same time and I was like, oh great.
Oh God.
I'm gonna die tonight. And then I didn't. But like we can't go anywhere without being paranoid or like, you can't wear this or like, like my guy friends can walk wherever they want any time of the day. Yeah. Like we can't just do that.
No.
Like we just can't. Like even if you wear like your biggest hoodie.
Yeah.
You're not safe.
No, still.
You're not safe.
And I actually like last summer I had this like walking route. I would kind of like switch it up every now and then. Mm-hmm. But one day on my walk, this man, he looked older, I don't know, like 30s or something. He was like just trying to talk to me and he's like, I noticed you walking, like you're so beautiful, whatever. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Like run away? Like I don't know. Like I'm not gonna just like run away. Mm-hmm. So then like he asked my name and I should have given him a fake name, but I said my name and whatever. Finally I was like able to walk away. And then the next couple days comes around. And this time I was walking a different route because I didn't want to run into him again. And I see him and I'm like walking around a lake and he's like, oh, Melissa, right? And he's like, mind if I join your walk? No. Like all this stuff. It was so creepy and weird. And I was like, no, like I'm actually heading home. I literally turned around and like fast walked until he couldn't see me anymore. And I started sprinting. Yeah. And I ran the whole way home. And ever since then, I have not walked that route by myself anymore. And it was actually so like, it sounds dramatic, but it was heartbreaking to me because I would walk that every single day for so long. Mm-hmm. And in my town, and I live in a very safe town during the day too. So it was just like really disappointing to feel that way in like my own town and territory,
Yeah, like when you live in like a suburb, like when I walk my dog, like I get honked at all the time. Yeah. And it's just like, let me live. Like, can I live? Right. But like there's been times where like cars have stopped and asked for my number and like, or like even when I'm out, like what creepy guys like try to talk to me. Like my friends will always be like, why aren't you saying anything? Like,
Right,
and I'm like,
what?
because I'm never gonna lead on a freaking
No.
weirdo. Like, I don't care if it's rude. I just don't.
No, I don't.
Like,
I don't entertain it.
Like, every time I just, like, I pretend I don't hear them. I pretend
Yeah.
I don't see them. Like, it's the only way out. And a lot of people are like, oh, why are you so mean to him? I'm like, because I'm not going to lead anybody on.
Also, why do I owe this creepy person anything?
Right. Like, I just don't.
I
just don't. Like, I don't think it's
I don't
rude.
care.
I think it's, like, that's my boundary.
And that's the thing. Like,
I don't give my energy to just anybody.
Yeah. And as women, like, we have to walk around with pepper spray, like, blah, blah, blah. It's just like it.
Which I don't. And I often get asked why I don't have anything. And I'm like, I just never saw it.
I have one right now either.
I just, like, never saw it at the store. Think about and appreciate. And I'm so grateful that I made it through college safely.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah,
I definitely put myself in a lot of dangerous positions, like under the influence, because that's just how college is.
Yeah.
And
you
so
make
many
mistakes.
So many bad things could have happened to me, you know, like blacking out, like just anything could have happened. And I'm so grateful that like I am okay, because at the time I didn't realize like how dangerous those things could have been.
Yeah.
Like,
and still to this day, like, you have to be careful about like getting roofied at bars. Like,
yeah, like I was literally drinking water the other night and I was like
cover
low
your
key
drink.
like I set this water down for a pretty long time. I stopped drinking it because I was like, what if? Like, I'm the one driving tonight.
Never set your drink
even though
down.
it's just the water, I'm like, you know, I gotta ditch this one because I don't like, not that anyone was scaring me either. It's just like what we have to do to be safe. And I know guys who've been roofied too. And
I do too, and I was gonna say that. Like, men get roofied too.
Yeah,
and
no,
I've
do.
seen
We
it
always
in
stand
front of
up
my
for
own
you guys.
eyes. We were on a work trip in San Diego, and all of us were out, and one of my coworkers, he got like super drunk, whatever. He was okay though, like that night. It wasn't until the next day that we really realized like how bad it was, because he was out of commission the whole day, just throwing up the whole day. Like, he got roofied for sure, because we all drank the same amount of drinks, like whatever. So that was just really scary because we were all together and it could have happened to any of us.
Right,
So.
it could have been your drink. I was at a party in college and it was with a frat, but it wasn't at the frat, but it was with a frat.
Okay.
And I was invited. It was a wine night, and my friend told me to try beatbox, so I did. But I barely drank any of it. I was super nervous to be there. I was meeting up with this guy. So I like didn't drink much of it because I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, I obviously had the wine at the wine night. But it was like the smallest little cup. Like, just definitely not enough to send me into the hospital.
Yeah.
But that's where I ended up that night. I literally only remember being at that apartment for maybe 15 minutes. Everything else is not in my memory at all. I only know what my friends had told me.
Oh my God.
And I was passing out everywhere. I was puking everywhere. Like, they said I was foaming at the mouth. They ended up calling the ambulance because they thought, they didn't even think it was alcohol. Like, they thought I was dying. Like, they thought I was having strokes and stuff. And so I ended up in the ambulance. You know, I wake up in the hospital. I'm freezing cold. I'm soaking wet for some reason, with no phone. It's just me in this room. No doctor. I freaked out because I couldn't text anyone. I couldn't call anyone. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I had taken a drug test. I didn't remember taking it. Like, I had peed in a cup. Like, I did the whole thing. And after, like, the aftermath of everything, this frat was now on, like they could have been, like, done.
What frat was that?
My frat. Sig Phi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they were, like, on the line, basically, and they were going to get in huge trouble with the school. And everyone was, like, texting me the next day, like, what happened? Like, and I remember, like, posting to my private story. I was like, none of this is my fault.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually scared for my life right now. Like, something bad happened. I'm like, I was like, if anyone knows or, like, can tell me their point of view, like tell me, because I don't remember anything.
You don't know.
And I remember like just hearing everyone tell me their sides of the story. I was piecing everything together. And then people, like the rumors going around were just insane. Like all these frat guys were so like, oh, she just doesn't know her tolerance. Like she just lost a bunch of weight. Like she's like this, she's that. Like she's always drunk, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But the reality of it was I barely had anything. I ate dinner that night. Like,
and
I had been drinking literally the night before. I had a whole pitcher of margarita by myself. So don't tell me my tolerance is gone, because I know myself. And
you don't have a few drinks and get sent to the hospital.
Right, exactly. And I had barely like one, you know?
Yeah. And that's just an example.
And but what did I do? I stood up for the frat. I told the school how they're such nice people, which I'm friends with most of them. But the ones that were making up all these stories, saying all these things, wanting to literally cancel me. Like they wanted to blacklist me because of it. Yeah. Even though I was taking care of them.
Right.
Like it's just silly. Like just because I lost weight.
Also, what do they want you to do? Just sit back and not talk about this horrible thing that just happened to you?
That was traumatizing.
Right. Excuse me.
I went through a lot. Like, if I was in the wrong, I would totally let them have it, you know? Like, I'd be like, please, I'll blacklist myself. Like, if I felt like it was my fault. Which I definitely had nights like that.
Well, and, that's an exact reason why women don't want to speak out. They don't want to, share what happened to them in any sort of way. If it's getting roofied, raped,
Right.
That it's a tough world being a woman.
Right.
And I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, what a core character development moment.
Yeah. I went to the hospital in college, too.
Yeah. You did?
It was for a whole different thing.
For a women thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, God.
It was a women thing caused by a man, yeah.
Yeah. Men suck.
Yep. It was caused by a man.
So little things.
Okay, so I went to a wedding this weekend for my neighbor, and it was great. It was really fun. It was the perfect traditional wedding, and I was excited because they had been engaged for 2 years, so it was a while coming.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, but it was really good.
I went to a wedding too last week. And it was my first friend wedding. So it was really cool to see one of my friends getting married. But I'm realizing now I'm gonna go through all my friends' weddings before I ever have mine, and I can learn
exactly
all the things I like and I don't like, and I get excited to plan a wedding because
same.
Because I'm just getting all these cool ideas and what I don't like. And but it was super cool. This was one of my friends from literally junior high.
Yeah.
And she was just so happy, and it was just so cool to see.
I love it.
And we went to this bar afterwards in Naperville because she got married on a Sunday, so there really wasn't much to do.
Yeah.
So we just went. It was the only place open, and there was another bridal party there, a wedding party.
Yeah.
There was another wedding party there. And she went up to them and she was like, we have to have a dance off.
What?
So she made the other party come to the dance floor.
Oh, I love
and
that.
Had a dance off with them. They totally won. But for her wedding's sake, she won the dance off.
Yeah.
But it was super funny. I mean, she was just the happiest little thing on the planet, and it was cool to see that.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I love weddings. Now I want to have mine.
I want to go to a bunch of weddings now. I want to be everybody's plus one. It's just such a cute thing to witness.
I know.
And I love hearing the speeches.
The speeches are the best.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't talk about her wedding. Her sister gave the best speech, though. It was everyone was crying. It was so cute.
Yeah.
And then she had her nephew. She handed him the mic after and was like, welcome to the family, Uncle Corey. And it was just the cutest moment ever because he wasn't an uncle before.
Yeah.
So now he's an uncle.
Aww.
They're just really cute. Yeah.
Cute.
Cutesy.
Cutesy.
Well,
Thanks for watching Stay
and Slay
with Mel.
and Krissy. And
as always, stay vibrant. Mwah.